I'm Paul Daddy from Paul Daddy's Blind Hog Barbecue. Today I'll be walking you through making burn-ins from prime chuck steak. So true burn-ins come from the point of a brisket. And of course, burn-ins originally had a lot of bark. They were somewhat dried out. They were considered not fit to be sold. So a lot of barbecue joints provided them as snacks while the customers were waiting. Rumor has it that they became so popular that the demand outpaced the supply. So, a technique to replicate and enhance the burn-ins has been developed. With the way we trim briskets today, most reputable pit masters, they just don't produce a lot of parts that come out not fit for resale. It's become a thing to use the burn-in procedure on other cuts of meat to make them taste like burn-ins. So, the word burn-ins has been hijacked, so to speak. But I promise you, no one's out there trying to make burn-ins that aren't fit to be sold like they were originally. Now, I've got some prime chuck steak that I'll be using to make burn-ins. So, prime means it has a lot of intermuscular fat, so in that respect, it may be similar to a brisket point. The first thing that we need to do is make a rub that we're going to be using today. It's a 3-ingredient rub. It's got 1 part kosher salt, 1 part Lowry seasoned salt, and 2 parts black pepper. I'm using a 1/4 cup as my measuring device. Now with this rub, it's a good idea to make it in small batches because using a larger container, it's easy to get the ingredients out of ratio. And remember to shake it and keep it mixed up. Now that we got the rub made, let's dry off the chuck steaks with paper towels. For the binder, I'm going to be using warm water in a spray bottle. And remember, it's warm water, not hot water. Give it a spray with the warm water and then add the rub. And remember that compared to brisket, the steaks are very thin. You need to season it a lot lighter than you would on brisket. You've got one side done, now turn it over, spray with the warm water and add the rub on that side. Get all the steak seasoned. I'm using my Yoder YS1500 pellet smoker, and my plan is to smoke low and slow for the first 2 hours at 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Now the minimum temperature on the Yoder YS1500 is 175 degrees. I've gone in there to the settings menu and I've changed the calibration to a +25, and that tricks the controller into running 25 degrees lower. Now the minimum temperature that it shows is still 175 degrees, but the built-in fireboard controller will run that smoker at 150 degrees Fahrenheit. And we will verify that by using the Tell Truth thermometers. The low setting will give us more smoke and of course a smokier flavor. Now the steaks can go on the pit as soon as you get it fired up. We don't need to wait to get it lined out. We want to take advantage of all that smoke that's produced at startup. I'm going to be putting these steaks on the top shelf with drip pans underneath. And today I'm using a Meat Stick 4X to monitor the internal temperature of the steaks. And this probe needs to be inserted all the way up to the ceramic end. Now let's close the lid and get them smoking. Since we're using thinner cuts of meat, I'm going to be flipping them over every hour or so and occasionally rotate their positions in the smoker. Now while we're waiting, I'm going to be making up a barbecue sauce blend that we're going to need. Now if you've watched very many of my videos, you've probably seen this barbecue sauce before. We want to add in 1 bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce and 1 bottle of Stubbs barbecue sauce. And I like to add in 2 squirts of lemon juice to the Stubbs bottle when it's nearly empty. Shake it up and then dump it out. It helps get the bottle clean, plus we need that lemon juice. And then you want to add 2 good spoons of minced garlic. Mix it all up and we're done. Now after about 2 hours at 150 degrees, I'm ready to raise the temperature to 225 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember to keep the steaks rotated and flipped. And then after 1 hour at 225 degrees, I'm raising the temperature up to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. My smoker controls a whole lot better when I make small adjustments. Now our target temperature is 185 degrees internal. When it gets to 185 degrees, the steaks will be cubed up. They'll be put in a disposable pan, coated in a special mixture with that barbecue sauce. While we're waiting on that 185 degrees to get here, we're going to need to make up the mixture for the burn-ins. In a suitable pot, add 1½ cups of the barbecue sauce that we just made, a 1/2 stick of butter, 1/4 cup of turbinado sugar, and 2 tablespoons of honey. Now heat it up on medium heat to get that sugar melted, and be sure to give it a good stir as it's heating. Now when the steaks finally get to 185 degrees internal, it's time to take them out of the smoker. Now here I've got some Neewer granulated beef bouillon in this shaker. Season each side of the steak with a light to medium amount. The beef bouillon will give it a very savory flavor. Now slice each steak up into 1-inch cubes and place the cubes in a disposable pan. Now you know I had to sneak in a bite. The flavor is incredible. Now let's take that special mixture with the barbecue sauce that we made. We're gonna pour it all over the cubes and then gently give them a stir. So really we're just pushing them around a bit to get them all sauced up. Back in the smoker at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to check them after the first hour to see if they're tender. If they're not ready to take off, then go another hour. Okay, the main thing that we're looking for is that they probe tender. The probe should go in and out with very little resistance. Now after that second hour in the smoker, if they're not quite ready for prime time, we're going to cover that pan with foil and go back in your smoker or oven at 275 to 300. And since we're through with the smoke, the oven is a very good option. Okay, mine weren't quite ready. They weren't exactly where I wanted them to be. So we're going to put them in my Easy Bake Oven, also known as a Coockshack Amerique electric smoker. Now I won't be adding any fuel to it, so it'll be functioning exactly like an oven. I took the temp up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and they will cook there until they're tender. It takes what it takes. Now guys, this is how they turned out. They are tender and delicious. Oh, they are so good and they're bursting with flavor. Now I think this was absolutely the best use for these chuck steaks. Maybe they aren't really burn-ins, but no one will ever know unless you tell them. Now just look at that. They look great and they taste even better. I am so glad I made these, and you will be too. Burn-ins, it's what's for lunch. Now all you gotta do is hit that like button on your way out, consider subscribing, and I hope to see you next time at Paw Daddy's Blind Hog Barbecue.